Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Five Star Pod Splash. I am your host, Andre Harris, and today we are going to be breaking down the top 25 My Hero Academia episodes. Man, I thought I'd do something a little different this time. I did put a poll up for the My Hero Academia in a few groups, but you know what? I'm gonna keep it real. Putting it out there, it didn't get as many votes as the other polls did, surprisingly enough. And I think a lot of that was due to just like people not would have to do a lot of homework to go back and look up every single episode to see what took place in every single episode. I know a lot of people probably just bunch things up into arcs or whatnot and might not know what specific episode something took place. There was a few of that when I was coming up with my top 10 where I thought like one episode it happened and one episode it happened like an episode earlier or an episode later on or whatnot. But with that being said, we are going to get into the top 25 My Hero Academia episodes. I got 5 honorable mentions, and man, I didn't. My Hero is one of my favorite anime of the new generation. Definitely in my top 10 all-time animes. Probably in my top 5. I ain't even going front. Probably in my top 5. I didn't realize, and obviously I love My Hero a lot, man. You got dang there all the pops, got you know what I'm saying, the little statues, all that stuff. But I didn't realize just how great this show was, and as far as episodes, like this series isn't even at 100 episodes yet, and coming up with the top 25 was hard, bro. I feel bad because there's a lot of stuff that still probably got left out, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some uh, episodes or stuff that probably didn't make the list that people are going to feel some type of way about or whatever. But you know, that's what these top 25 lists are for. So make sure y'all hit that like, follow, subscribe down there at the bottom at the whole effing show on Facebook. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure y'all hit that like, follow as well. And you know, if you'd like to make a donation, you could do so at Cash App at Fatamania right there at the bottom of the screen. From time to time, I'll take the video, audio, and put it on my podcast at 5 Star Pod Splash. So make sure you go follow that on your Anchors and Spotify's and all that as well. So with that being said, let's get into the 5 honorable mentions. They did not make my top 25. This is just my personal 25. So different from all the other top 10 series and higher numbers depending on like how many people are on the poll or whatnot. This one's different. This one is my personal top 25, so I thought I'd do something different, see if you guys agree, disagree, what your personal top 25, top 10 is. You can put them in the comments, whether you're watching this live or watching later on. So with that being said, let's get into it. Honorable mention number 5, I am going to go with the Zuku Midoriya episode 1 of My Hero Academia. This was a great series introduction, strong origin. That's probably one of my favorite things about My Hero Academia is like it starts off on such a strong note. It really establishes the world and pretty much the rules, regulations, and pretty much everything within this first episode. We get a great idea of who Izuku Midoriya is as a character and his starting point. That's something that we don't get with a lot of people. Like, for example, Luffy, he just pops up out of a barrel in the middle of the ocean, no explanation, you know, like he already has his powers or whatnot. Even with a Goku, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though we see him as a young kid, he's like already super strong. Obviously, he's a Saiyan or whatnot, but let's keep in mind here Academia. But the point I'm making is like we see him at such a low base level that there's nothing but room for him to grow and improve as a character, not just power level, but as a person overall. Like he has no confidence at this point. He's super smart or whatnot, but like he's just like he's he's fighting for a dream that just seems almost unobtainable at this point in the series. And it does like a great, it just does a great job at laying the foundation for what's to come, and just sets up so many things in here with the Easter eggs too. So many questions it leaves unanswered, you know, because this is the only episode too where they actually even mention Deku's father, which is another thing. So like definitely deserves an honorable mention. One thing, just before we go any further, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but I always thought if Deku was to have a power, and this is just me, you know how with the quirk, singular theory and whatnot, how like with each generation to grow stronger or whatnot, I always felt like Deku with his mom having telekinesis, a Jean Grey power, and his dad, as they mentioned, being able to breathe in fire, made me think just like Dark Phoenix, you know. And so I was thinking like, yo, what if Deku had like some type of Dark Phoenix, Jean Grey type power? That would be fire, but it's just dormant or whatnot, or they couldn't detect it because of how powerful it is, or something like that, or it doesn't trigger until he dies and then he's resurrected on some like Phoenix type thing. But that being said, coming in honorable mention number 4, I am going with episode 19, the boy born with everything. The introduction to Shinzo, man, it's a parallel to Deku. You know what I'm saying? Another person who, while Deku had no powers at all, this is a person who had a pretty crazy power, but due to the nature of his power and how it works, people would perceive like he would just be better off being a villain, or like he's just not the right quirk for the type of work that he wants to do or whatnot. So I definitely thought this was dope. This is also the first appearance of the, I can say the first appearance, but this is the first time Deku interacts with the vestiges, and where they snap them out of the brain control, so, or the mind control. So definitely a dope episode. Shinzo, I liked at the end too, with like everybody acknowledging Shinzo, and man, it was just a really cool episode. It just does a great job of highlighting people outside of just that main character, where a lot of times it's like only one or two people really like are really noted for like anything that really sticks. Like this, I think this like did stick. It did a great job of establishing Shinzo. A lot of people wanted to see more of Shinzo, to the point where he eventually ends up coming back into the fold. Honorable mention number 3. Some people are probably going to be mad. Some people are probably going to have this in their top 25. But again, there's so many good episodes of My Hero Academia. Like, you're just going to leave bangers out. It's like no way around it. But honorable mention number 3 is episode 84, Deku versus Gentle Criminal. Man, I love how like this episode, like how it starts off, how their conflict starts off, because it doesn't end in one episode. So this is the very beginning of their confrontation, where Deku's coming back from picking up the rope and everything for the talent show, or for the sports festival, and he runs into, you know, Gentle Criminal and La Brava, who are like picking up the Gold Tips Imperium from like the little coffee shop right next door from where he's picking up the rope and everything. Like, it was just a cool little interaction and everything, and the Deku's like putting two together. Like, I like when you like get to see like someone like, hold up, something's off, you know, like, and you like pieced it together. It's like, oh, hold up, this dude, I know your whole spill. You about to trying to ruin our thing. And you know, I got Aaron here, you know, with the whole dynamic with Aaron too, definitely like put more at you know, it put more at stake, you know. And also like them showing Gentle and La Brava's like perspective on things too, and just their character overall. Like, how can you not like Gentle Criminal and La Brava as well? So it was like one of those things where you're like tugging. It's like a tug of war, where it's like you like Deku, but like you can kind of like rock with the villains as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're likable villains. I mean, a lot of the My Hero Academia villains are, but like they're like they have like a different type of charisma to them. But yeah, honorable mention number 3 would be Deku versus Gentle Criminal. Coming in, honorable mention number 2 is Bakugo versus Uraraka. Man, this was a good one. I really liked at the end how well, this was great for a lot of reasons, man. Like Uraraka, she's one of my favorite like female protagonists in like the anime series, like the more so like the shonen or whatnot. She be having her moments all throughout the series, and this was definitely one of them. She took that L, but you know what? The sweet thing about it was like this whole time, like you're getting the same perspective that the people in the audience are getting of like, man, Bakugo's just like mopping the floor with her, like, man, like get over with it. And then like the people like who are like super like analytical, like Deku's like, nah, like he's having a hard time with her. Like, he's trying to get her out of there, but like she's putting up a fight, you know, like it just showed like her resolve. And another like another part of her character, and what it also did was it also expanded upon her character, because from taking this loss she grew from it to where she went and then got the training to like develop her combat skills, you know. And so she grew from that loss. It also had a nice little like moment in the back too, where like, you know, she's like putting on this like brave front for Deku and everybody, like, no, I'm good and everything. And then she gets with their parents, she talks to her parents on the phone, and then she like kind of like breaks down and everything. And it was dope, you know. So like really thought that was a dope moment. Definitely deserves an honorable mention. Some people, if they have in their top 25, would not be mad at all, man. Honorable mention number one, this, man, I was really like, I was on the fence about this one. This is how crazy My Hero Academia is, that this is actually even an honorable mention on the top 25. But honorable mention number one is episode 11, Game Over. Now, this is when the villains get up in there, and Deku and Froppy and Mineta, they able to take out their first villains, like real villains. And this is also, I believe, where Azawa. I'm not certain about that one part, because the episodes that kind of go back. I want to say that happened in this episode, but what for sure happened in this episode was oh, no, because that was the episode before that Azawa did that. This is the episode where Deku and them handle business or whatever. So coming in, time to get to the top 25. Coming in at number 25 on the list is episode 63, Unrivaled. Mirio pulled rank, man. Mirio pulls up and pulls rank. That's how you make a impression, a first impression. Pulls up and just washes the whole class 1A. Like, yo, y'all, these are the people you've been rocking with. He just shows up like, yo, these are people y'all been rocking with these last 3 seasons. Bet. Puts hands on all of them at the same time. Bakugo and Shoto, they was smart. They could like sense. They could sense that Black Air Force energy, and it was like, nah, I ain't about to do that. I ain't got my license. I ain't got my permit yet. I'm gonna fall back. Y'all could take that L, you know. And he just laid into the rest of them, man. He dogged Deku and all of them out, man. But it was a dope episode for me. So definitely gets that top 25, man. Coming in number 24, episode 44, Roaring Upheaval, man. This is Dark Shadow going crazy, just, you know, unleashing, put hands on one of the Vanguard villains. I forgot the name of the dude with the teeth that turned into like the long blades and whatnot, but that was dope. This is also where uh Deku and a couple of the class 1A students there, like fighting to get back Bakugo, who just got captured, and Todoroki. I mean, not Todoroki, but Tokiyami. So this is like right where they catch up. The episode ends with them like catching up to Mr. Compress and Dabi and them, who are just about to escape with them, and it looks like the tables are about to turn in the hero's favors until that next episode where, you know, they get that twist at the end and everything. Coming in at number 23 on the list, we got the school festival start. That's episode 85. This is the conclusion to Deku versus Gentle Criminal. You get Gentle Criminal's tragic backstory, what led him down his path, even though he isn't like on no Shigaraki level type path or nothing like that, but, you know, like small time criminal, whatnot, you know. So it makes you like really sympathize for Gentle Criminal and everything like that. And him and La Brava, you know, he has his little level up and everything. And it's another dope moment is that, you know, it's Deku handling things by himself. It's Deku as the focal point, which I ain't gonna say is a problem, because I think it's dope that how many people get moments to really shine and be, you know, have significant moments. In some part, it is hurting Deku, because like, but at the same time, it just gives you more variety. You know what I'm saying? Which I love about My Hero Academia as to where like other series, like if you were to go to like a convention or something like that, you're only gonna see people dress up as a handful of the characters because they're the only ones who really ever get any shine, like for the most part. But with My Hero Academia, so much of their characters are cosplayed and whatnot, just because so many people get such a good spotlight and things. The flow in My Hero is so I think it's the perfect pace to where things move along to where nothing drags. So it's so easy to watch and go back and watch over and over because everything gets resolved and it just keeps moving on at a good pace for the most part. Coming in at number 22 is Encounter with the Unknown. This is the one mistake the other one for, where I was gonna say this is where Eraserhead shows out like, yo, like, don't think like the only thing I could do is stop your quirk. Like, you can get these hands too, and I got this little binding cloth to wrap y'all up too. He got his Spider-Man on this episode. Really showed that the pros, what it takes to be a pro, and that All Might ain't the only pro who gives it up, who gets busy out there. So like, I really thought this was a dope episode. Villains came through, they was doing their thing up in here, and yeah. So Encounter with the Unknown coming in at number 22. Coming in at number 21, we got episode 47, All for One. This is the episode that the villains have Bakugo in their hideout. They trying to get him to transfer over to the dark side. They're trying to make him a bad guy and everything. And pretty much Bakugo is like, yo, screw y'all. I'm a hero. You got the teachers, Azawa and Vlad, with the principal. They're over at like a press conference and everything, and they just like, man, they picked the wrong bull to try to, like, I was trying to use Philly slang. They used the wrong person. They used the wrong person to try to change into a villain, man. If they think Bakugo is a bad person because he got a bad temper, then they tripping. That bad attitude is just his passion. That's how he conveys his emotion or whatnot. But he want to be a hero more than anybody, which is Bakugo like, yo, what, these people actually get me. Like, I didn't give him enough credit, like than I should have been giving him credit for. But this also where All Might pulls up, at that funny moment where All Might's like, yo, you're good, Bakugo, you're safe. You don't gotta be scared. He's like, I was never scared, like, so it was just a dope thing. You got this another dope moment was like, you already saw like the heroes pull up the first time during the school invasion, but this is like the other heroes. Like, that was the school teachers. This is like the OGs, Endeavor, Ed Shot, you know what I'm saying? Kaminari Woods, like, you got the OGs pulled up on the villain hideout. It was fire. That he yo, it was dope. But it ends with Shigaraki calling for backup in the form of All for One. And man, it was just an all around, that episode was fire right there, man. It was, took the school out, let's get to the superhero stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it was super dope in that regard. Coming in at number 20 is episode 77, Bright Future, man. Yo, this was dope because you think right after the episode that it followed with you seeing Deku and Overhaul at the end of their climatic battle, you think things are gonna slow down, but no. Like, very next episode, we got a high-speed chase with the League of Villains hijacking Overhaul, who was on his way to Tartarus. Shigaraki cutting off his hands, or not cutting off, but basically, yeah, he cut him off. He did, because he disintegrated. He started the disintegration, and then he cut him off before it like just got to the rest of his body. So it was him getting the last slap on Overhaul, who gave him a huge L and killed one of his companions or comrades earlier on in the season and whatnot. And basically, this was Shigaraki maturing, Shigaraki developing as a character. Like, this was a huge development for Shigaraki. This, up until what's to come in season 5, if they finish the League of Villains arc, this was his biggest character development in the whole series up until this point. This was Shigaraki growing up to a certain extent. This is him at least becoming a young adult, or right on the cusp of that, like maturing, like really finding his goal and purpose and whatnot, his footing. So I have to give that number 20. Coming in at number 19, we got number 37, or episode 37, Katsuki Bakugo Origin. This is where All Might puts hands on Deku and Bakugo at the same time. Deku and Bakugo happen to team up for the first time. A lot of reluctancy, but it shows, even with the power that Deku was inherited from All Might, when he uses Bakugo's gauntlet and he sees like the amount of strain and damage that it puts on him, and he has all for one to see that Bakugo is withstanding that. It's kind of dope. It kind of shows another level of Bakugo, and a testament to his character and his resolve, that he's doing everything possible to reach that next level, to go plus ultra. So it was nice seeing that character development with him and Deku. Bakugo breaking down for a moment. We get the flashback to really see, like, he was like Deku in the sense, like, they both liked All Might. It wasn't just Deku who was like the biggest All Might stan. Bakugo was too. He just carried along about it a different way and had a different perception that he got from All Might, as opposed to Deku, where Deku was like, yo, man, like, this dude is like amazing. He saves everybody. Bakugo was like, yo, this guy's amazing. Like, can't nobody beat him. Like, he beats everybody. So, like, they both admired him just for different reasons, but they come eventually to work with each other long enough to complete the assignment of escaping or defeating All Might. And obviously they escape because they ain't being OG All Might. Let's be real here. Coming in number 18 on the list is episode 18, the Calvary battle finale. This was, man, I love the whole sports festival. Even the stuff outside of the fights was fire. Hence the Calvary battle finale. With this episode was super dope. There was a lot of dope moments. This is like Bakugo gets back his badge from Monoma, and then takes all of their badges. Was super dope, like, because it just shows like his competitive nature and his streak, and it was just one of those classic Bakugo moments in that, and then it like set up him like, all right, we did that, now it's time, and it shows him working with his teammates again. Like, when Bakugo can, when you could figure him out, and when he decides to work with his team, like when he works with his team, like, there's no stopping him, man. Like, how they did that was fire. Like, whenever him and the rest of his team, like, that was dope. And then also you had on here, you had Ida got his moment to shine, where he's just like, yo, hold on, I'm about to do something, and he just like he would flash for a minute right there, just snatch Deku's headband. That was so fire. There was a lot of sweet moments in this episode. Tokiyami saving Deku from not even making it to the next round, snatching that headband at the last minute to just make them advance. Like, there was just a lot of that very last minute with the big three with Bakugo, Shoto, and Deku, and then at the very last second, the buzzer rings. It was just like, this was a great episode, and it was a lighthearted episode because it's just a sports festival, but still one of my favorites. Another coming at number 17, another episode from the school festival, one I highly enjoyed, was episode 16, In Their Own Quirky Ways. Man, this was sweet because this right here is Deku at his core. One of the things I do like, especially because a lot of people tend to like to throw around. I see there's a comment, so let me see what they're talking about. Oh shoot, we got FAD in the building. It's good. Shout out to Fades in Anime. That's a very exclusive group. You got to have thick skin to be in Fades in Anime. It's not for everybody. Let me just tell you. Scared, go to church. Don't go up in that group. So back to what I was saying. Episode 17. What I like about this is, like, it encompasses what Deku is, which is not relying on his power, like not relying on power, but more so his knowledge and who he is at his core, which is this hero fanatic, so much so that he studied everybody, similar to a Batman, how Batman had a contingency without ever showing, except for just being already there in the Batcave. Like we are actually seeing him like build the contingency when he's taking all these notes on everybody constantly, to where it was his brains and his strategy that got him the victory over these people with more power than him and more talent and skill than him. It was his it was his will and his intelligence and his strategy that led him to getting to that to coming in first place, and it was like All Might said, like, yo man, like this is your introduction or whatever, like introduce yourself. And he did a great job that first course in the whole sports festival to make it known, like, yo man, I'm here too, and it was definitely dope because it was another loss for Bakugo. So not only was it a great development moment for Deku and a great here I am moment for Deku, but it was a great development moment for Bakugo, who for those early episodes who you see as like Mr. Popular and the dude who, it was bringing him down to earth. Like, dang man, I just lost to Deku twice now. Like I just lost to that one mission with the team up mission, and now I just lost to him in the first mission of the sports festival. So that was just, it was just dope all around, and then he also handed Shoto a loss right there, who Shoto ain't been taking no losses up until this point. So it put him on Shoto's radar. So Shoto's like, all right, now I see I'm just not gonna like be able to like win at every single thing easily. Like I got some competition here, so that was dope. Coming in number 16 on the list is episode 71, Sun Eater of the Big Three. Man, who don't like Sun Eater? I dare you not to say you don't like Sun Eater. This was a fire episode, great action, and they got everything taken care of in one episode. That's what I'm talking about with the pacing. Like they did in one episode would it take, like, no shade to One Piece, but it'd be taking One Piece like 10 episodes to like do what My Hero does in one episode. Like it gave you the flashback, it gave you mad action, and then completed the fight. It did everything in one episode. Like in One Piece, the flashback would be like 2-3 episodes, and then the fight would be another like 6-9 episodes. So like it just did it all, and it got everything resolved. It established the villains. It did a great job of establishing the villains, their purpose, their mindset. You know what I'm saying? It established who they were before, what led them to what they are now, what their purpose is as who they are now. Like, yo, we were trash. Gave you little backgrounds in each and every one of them, gave them little moments to each shine and show off their skill or whatnot, and then it showed Sun Eater lay hands on all three of them anyway, but it wasn't as easy as he expected. He had some insight into, their point of view and everything. Like, like, even though we're on opposite ends of the spectrum, even though we got opposite ideals, like there are things I can relate to that you guys have, like your teamwork and your belief in each other and your friendship and everything. Like I get all of that. Like even though we're different, like there doesn't mean like we don't have things in common, and that we don't have, like, we might be fighting for different things, but we're also fighting for some of the same things, if that makes any sense. Coming in number 15 on the list is episode 68, Let's Go Gutsy Red Riot. Man, the start of this episode started off so fire with the animation wise. It might have had the best start animation wise in the entire series. It almost looked like a whole different series. It kind of looked like My Hero Academia if it went Shippuden, and like things like were like post UA and everything, like with the cops, they have the giants fighting and everything. Oh girl from the Big Three pulls up and everything and starts scrapping with Uraraku and Froppy, like, and then it jumps to Red Riot with Fat Gum, and they patrolling the town and everything. And Red Riot gets his moment to shine. Like you get a little bit of a insight on Red Riot, and just a great spotlight on Red Riot, who up until this point didn't really get any shine. It's just another great job of My Hero, developing with such a, I ain't gonna say such a large cast because it ain't got no cast nowhere near like a One Piece or anything like that. I don't even think it got as much of a world building as like a Naruto, but it has some world building. Is what I'm alluding to. Is that it does a great job of like, man, spotlighting so many different characters. It isn't just the same 1, 2, 3 people getting spotlight. We had so many people get spotlight up to this point, and then they throw Red Riot into the fray, and then at the same time, while he's getting his spotlight, we also get Fat Gum getting his shine as well. So it was like, and then you got the old girl from the Big Three. She gets a little moment to shine. She takes down a villain. You get to see two of the class girls and class 1A. They're getting to shine out there doing their thing. So it's not just the same old Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki thing, So it was nice to see that, and this definitely led to some things that play on later on to this season. So coming in number 14 on the list is episode 45. What a twist, man. Right when you think that the UA students are turning around their bad fortune, at the very last minute, Mr. Compress shows up like, nah, you got the wrong one play. I was tricking y'all. I was fooling y'all. And at that same time, you got man, my mind is going blank. I'm so mad I can't remember his name right now. But oh boy with the laser beam shoots the laser out, pops him right in the mouth. Pops him right in, he popped it right in the mouth with the laser, bro. Knocked the pebbles out his mouth, man. But Dabi, this is the first Dabi Shoto interaction that we get. A little bit of a teaser of who Dabi is, as he hints with the Shoto Todoroki, calling him by his full name. And aside from that, this was a super fire episode, the entire thing. But what really makes this episode stand out and really just mwah to me is the villains win. The villains win. You know what I'm saying? That's beautiful when the villains win, because you know what I'm saying? It's so cliche for the heroes to win every single time. So I like that dynamic. I like that, all right, the heroes don't get, it's not a happy ending every time. We done snatched up your classmate. Holla at your boy. So that's what happened. That's what happens coming in at number 14. Coming in at number 13 on the list. How you doing? I'm doing well. Can't complain. Any day we wake up, you gotta appreciate life. Gotta be thankful for life, man. Any day you wake up is a blessing. So can't complain. I mean, we all got bills to pay. We all got hard stuff going on. We could either complain about it, or we could do something about it. I'm one of the people who prefer to do something about it. So can't complain. But I appreciate you for asking that question. I hope you were having a good day as well. So thank you for that. Coming in number 13 on the list. Man, My Hero was in their bag. This is one of my favorite episodes. I mean, I put it only 13, but this could really be higher on my list. And that is episode 86, Let It Flow, the Sports School Festival. Yo, My Hero Academia didn't know. I don't know, because I mean, I watch a lot of anime, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't recall, like, especially for shonen, like, I can't recall an execution of a musical like to this level, bro. Like, this was such a great episode. No action, nothing. It's just a good, feel good, warm-hearted episode. The song was fire. The animation to accompany it was fire. And then just to see Aries smile, especially after everything we know this girl went through, it was such a great ending to that arc. And that, I ain't gonna say the season, because yeah, like 1 or 2 episodes after this, but it was just such a great send-off to that whole Aries situation. To see her smile is just a great way to end everything. And man, they delivered. Jiro, another spotlight. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many episodes on here where it's just like, man, Sun Eater got one of the best episodes. A Red Riot episode. You know what I'm saying? A Ida episode. A Raka episode. Like there's so many people who have their moments, who get that moment to shine. Like you don't get that in Dragon Ball. You don't have a Yamcha episode where you really, you don't really have a Krillin episode where he really holds it down like that. So like, no shade, but like that's what I'm saying. Like My Hero does such a great job of like giving everybody these moments to really shine and whatnot. That's why like a lot of people been hating on season 5 right now, which I left off of this, but I have been loving season 5. I wasn't too hyped when I was reading in the manga. I was like, oh, another training arc or whatever. But man, watching it, like I liked the anime. The animes made me like the arc more than the manga, and I'm just like, yo, I'm feeling it, especially because with My Hero, a lot of times the story dictates the action, not the other way around, where a lot of these other series rely on the action to dictate the story, and you could tell by how long it takes for them to finish up a fight scene, because like the fight scene is pretty much like the story. Like, so whereas to My Hero, like everything flows at such a well pace that like the story dictates the action as opposed to the other way around, you know. So it's nice to have these little just action, you know what I'm saying? Because like that, if anything, that's what's been kind of lacking, is like you're not having these long battles like these other series. So you're not getting these. They're epic. They're just not super long, you know. Like things get taken care of in a shorter amount of time span. Speaking of action, coming in at number 12 is episode 61, Deku versus Kachon Part 2. Man, this is a dope one. This like really is where Deku and Kachon start to finally, where Bakugo finally starts to see, you know, like as like an equal, you know what I'm saying? And start to like really, this is where the friendship really starts to get somewhere. You know, up until this point, it's kind of been more of like Deku admires Bakugo, but Bakugo is just really just a jerk to him the whole time. And like I really can't even consider them like friends. But this is where like that starts to like slowly start to turn around. Deku reveals the truth to Bakugo, you know, even though Bakugo really like put it all together. They have that beautiful fight scene, Bakugo and Deku going toe to toe. You know, like this is a really great fight scene up on here. Bakugo gets a W. Always a good thing, you know what I'm saying? Even though Deku's my boy, like this shows another side of Bakugo and like his perspective, you know, and just like with those people with the attitude, you know, like a lot of times people look at people with bad attitudes. I'm another person who, like, you know, from time to time, just recently, you know, like sometimes people be like, oh man, like your attitude right now is off, you know, because I'm like a take no crap type of person, you know. But I'm like, man, once you see like that other side, like, yo man, like why he's like kind of what like causes this type of attitudes, like man, he's dealing with so much. Like if you only knew, like he finally lets that his shell down, you know, to where you could see like, man, this is why I'm kind of like always on edge, because like, man, to me, I'm like a failure while everybody else has been blowing him up his whole life and gassing him up, telling him how great he is and everything. Like in his head, he doesn't see that, you know, like everybody thinks he's one way, but in his head, he's his hardest critic, and he's constantly hard on himself and pushing himself because he's constantly putting himself at blame for everything that's happened and everything that goes wrong, you know. So definitely dope seeing another side of Bakugo in that aspect. Coming in at number 11 on the list is Symbol of Peace. This is the episode where it's the middle of the fight between All Might and All For One, the two OGs of the whole series. This is where Deku comes up with that plan with you know, Momo and Todoroki, and all them. Every time I do one of these live podcasts, someone always asks me to like show off my whole shirt. I think that's the funniest thing. It's the funniest thing. Yeah, give me a moment and I'll show off that. Those you don't know. Hello, top shelf. Can you show the full design T-shirt you wear now with standing and full screen? By the way, nice tees you have there. Thanks. Someone's always giving me a compliment on my shirts. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is the episode, and I'll show that in 1 second. This is the episode where yeah, they devised a plan to get Bakugo away from the League of Villains. At this time, Bakugo's fighting off the League of Villains by himself. All Might, he's like nerfed because he can't use all his full power because you got civilians that are still present. You got the students there, or Bakugo there and everything. So the students come with that plan. They get him up out of there. Shows, Deku's, rebellious nature to always, even, break the rules if that's what it takes to do the right thing, which he does, and just shows his reluctantness. It shows All Might is aware of Midoriya All Might passing All for One off to Midoriya. There's something I always speculated to. I'm kind of curious about, might play some factor, but also in this episode, or it might not be this episode, but during this whole thing, no, it was this episode. This is the episode also that All for One pushes Shigaraki and the League of Villains into like a warp gate to go somewhere else. And actually, he forced Quirk's Kurogiri to do it because, as he explained earlier, that he couldn't fully use Kurogiri's power to the level that Kurogiri did because he wasn't all the way familiar with it, that Kurogiri was. So he could only really do it to warp people to him and away from him that he's familiar with. But he mentioned something along those lines, but he did with Bakugo, which makes me think there's some type of connection with him and Bakugo. I'm thinking All for One is Deku's dad or something along those lines. It's just too much with the doctor and then the whole Bakugo thing right there, where it was just like another small little Easter egg, which is the thing I love about this series, all the Easter eggs and stuff that put into it. It's such a well-written series with a lot of great Easter eggs and stuff that you got to go back to and makes you speculate on, like the whole traitor thing. There's so many possibilities. There's so many different little Easter eggs, and some of them are just put there to make you think one thing and then be revealed later on that's going to be something else. But yeah, Symbol of Peace coming in at number 11. Now, the show is initially called Top 10. Normally, I just do top 10s, but as of late, I've been doing a lot of top 20s, top 25s, because the amount of the amount of choice is just so large that doing 10 would not do the series of the topic justice. So yeah, that's when I expanded a little higher out. But now we are into the meat and bones. We are into the top 10, what this show is initially supposed to be. So with that being said, the top 10 My Hero Academia episodes, in my opinion, coming in at number 10 is Deku versus Kachon, episode 7, the original Deku versus Kachon. While I thought like the Deku versus Kachon part 2 was better animated as far as like the animation per se, and them going all out, Deku got better control over his powers and whatnot. From a story standpoint, this one just had more weight to it. It had more meaning. This was Deku standing up to his bully who's been bullying him his whole life for the first time. He ain't got full control over his powers as well, which is, I mean, that makes it even more admirable, in the sense, he's over here, he got Araka with him, and then he gives Bakugo that judo slam. He straight judo slapped the shit out. He's like, hey, he judo slammed Bakugo through that ground, man. Had him coming up off the ground like with the spit coming out his mouth. Yo, man, Deku did Bakugo dirty, man. At the very end of the episode, again, not relying on power, because now they got Deku OP, which takes away what made his character so endearing initially, which is kind of like with Batman. Like, people lose point of what makes Batman in a sense when they go out of their way, like, oh, he's powerful to beat all these people who are way more powerful than him. What made Batman so cool was that he was more so his strategy, and the more so he was grounded in him being human. He can die, he can be beaten, but the strategies that he puts into practice or use to overcome, like, it wasn't that he was overpowered here. He was outskilled. He was out everything, but he out strategized, and that's how he managed to come up and defeat Bakugo for the first time. And it just humbled Bakugo, and at the same time, it amazed All Might. It was a great character developing moment for sure for Deku. This is where he announces, like, yo, man, like, you know what, that name you used to always call me? Well, old girl likes it, and you know what? I like it too now. That's my hero name. Deku is just a dog, man. So, yo, episode top 10 for me definitely is going to be Bakugo versus Deku, or Deku versus Kachon, part 1. Before I get into number 9, I recall I had must be some allergies or sinuses going around or something. So my nose is a little scratchy right now. But I had someone ask me to show off the whole shirt, so let me just do that real quick, you know. I forgot where I got this. I might have got this at if I didn't get this off Box Lunch website, then I got it off the Crunchyroll website. I can't recall which one I got that off. Man, you got me feeling like I'm back in high school when people ask me about my clothes, bro. But I never wore anime or any like comic book or wrestling or pop culture clothing back in high school. It was all name brand back in the day. I used to be shallow in that regard, you know, very materialistic in that sense, fashionable, but now I just don't care. I'll be rocking anime and all that stuff now. I just don't care no more. Coming in number 9 is episode 42, My Hero. This is Deku. Man, I'm over here digging in my nose on the live, but yeah, nose is itching. I'm sorry, man. I got nose hairs, long nose hairs. So anyway, number 9, My Hero. This is Deku defeating Muscular, restoring faith in a child who lost all faith in a hero society after his family was brutally murdered by Muscular. And you know, they showed him the couple episodes before that, and just with a stinky attitude towards heroes and hero society, and with good reason. Shoot, man, dude lost his whole family because this whole hero society and people playing cops and robbers, superheroes and villains. So like, I definitely can understand his outlook and his reason for feeling the way he did. And Deku, just this is Deku's first time on his own. No backup was coming. It's do or die, and Deku, you know, did his thing, you know, and not only did he defeat a super powerful villain who could defeat a lot of people in the series, a lot of villains on the series, and a lot of heroes on the series, but he did so saving. It was his first rescue, you know, and it was first person who ends up becoming like his fan to a certain extent, you know. So it was great. The very end of that episode where they ended to like my hero with the music playing and Deku yelling, and then they cut to the still and everything, and he's all banged up. Like, yo, that episode was fire, bro. Like, man, I'm telling you, My Hero got so many fire episodes, man. I mean, and then they had all that action going on in the woods at the same time this was all going down too. So man, like, My Hero, nothing short of bangers. Coming in number 8. Now I did say earlier that the reason I decided to do top 25, my top 25, because like it didn't do that many polls. It didn't do that many numbers in the polls. There's probably about like 50 total overall, like for like the highest voting count on the poll, and I only put it up in like 2-3 groups initially. But I got tired of typing up each and every last one of these episodes and everything, and then I start thinking like, yo, I don't know how many people are gonna actually even take the time to vote on these polls for as long as it's taken me to type all these up. So I'm gonna just do my own top 25 for this one, because this is one of my favorite series out anyway. So I just figured I'd do it that way. But this was number 1 on those polls, even though it just didn't have enough polls for me to merit doing a whole top 10, top 25. So I just did my own. But this was technically number 1 if I would have went based on fan vote, and that is episode number 29, Stain versus the UA Heroes. Man, there was so much that went on in this, and it was just such a different it was like a breath of fresh air, because it was like, man, is this the first time? I want to say this is the first time it had like the heroes outside of like a school setting. Like, yeah, because you had the school arc, Then you have the sports festival. Everything was basically even the raid at UA. Everything was at UA. So they did deal with villains during the raid at the school, but this is the first time we leave school grounds. This is the first time like we're out there in the real world and we out there in the city and everything, and a lot's going down. You got Ida out there looking for revenge, looking for blood, out there looking for Stain and everything, and careful what you ask for because you just might get it. And Stain pulled up with all the smoke. He treated Ida like he was nothing. Like, bro, like I wasn't even gonna kill you, but you keep talking reckless, so I changed my mind. I'm about to smoke you, and at the last minute, OG Deku pulls up again, bro. This dude Deku is so notorious for saving people. He saved All Might like one or two times early on in the series in that first season. Saved Bakugo early in that season. Like this dude is the master of the pull up when you need it. Like Deku is that person. If like you know how they have those memes and they like put like 4 or 5 superheroes or whatever, and they'd be like, oh, if you had one person to save you and the rest, I'm choosing Deku because Deku gonna show up. You know he's gonna show up on time, and Deku shows up, saves Ida, gets Stain's respect in this episode, you know, because Stain like, oh, you a real one. These other ones are some fake busters. They ain't really about that life, which is something that later on in the series, like his whole perspective, I think, is right because he had so many heroes who were in it for the wrong reasons or only in it for the fame and the money and so forth. And then once things got real, you've seen a lot of them dip out later on in the manga. So like what he was exposing and going after these heroes for, he was right. In Deku, once he sees Deku and how Deku handles himself, he realized like, oh, you different from these other ones. Like you the real deal. Like I'm gonna let you live. I like you, bro. But we can still throw hands because like I see you really about that life. You know, so like Deku and Stain going at it one-on-one was fire. Then when Deku starts to have his issue, Todoroki pulls up with the fire, bro. Todoroki using the fire, man. It was like, yo, Deku got through them. It shows that Deku got through them. Like, all right, now he's using his fire. Is Shoto out there fighting a real villain? Because up until this point, everybody Shoto tries to fight, he just steamrolls. I mean, Deku put up a little bit of a fight, and I ain't gonna say a little bit. Deku put up a fight during the sports festival when he was only using half of his quirk, and Bakugo he like just mentally broke and gave up. But every time he really like decided to fight somebody, he had no problems. This is the first time he fought someone who was like, all right, I know you got those skills, but it's still not enough. And Stain was giving Todoroki and Deku those problems, you know. So that's this episode ends before the second half where Ida jumps back into the fight. But man, this was a fire episode right here. So definitely deserves to be in the top 10. It was actually number 1 on the polls, but the polls, again, I didn't put in as many groups because there was a lot to type out for this one. Coming in number 7 on the list is Infinite 100. Man, Infinite 100. We finally get to see Deku go 100, and I'm kind of spun 100 for what he's able to access at this point. Because obviously he has all these other quirks he hasn't have access to yet. So obviously this isn't really 100% of Deku, but this is an infinite of 100% of what he could do at this moment, you know? Which are one of those dudes, I can't remember who, Wise, who does the My Hero Academia, like he always refers to like, oh, Shoto's more powerful than Deku because he at 100% during the thing beat Deku at 100%. Like Deku did not have, he only had access to one of his quirks at that time, maybe two, if you consider the stockpiling quirk and whatever else. But like he did not have access to Black Whip, Danger Sense, none of that other stuff. The Fujin that he just unlocked or the other stuff. So like clearly he wasn't. So like for that notion he puts out there like, oh, Shoto at 100% is stronger than All for One at 100% or One for All at 100% is bonkers. It's completely inaccurate. But for what he does have access to at 100% right now with Eri, man, this was one of those episodes, bro. Like they threw the music in the background, man. He beat Overhaul into a flashback, bro. He made when Overhaul, like when it shows Overhaul's eyes, like you look into Overhaul's eyeballs, and all you can see is Deku coming at him with the like yeah. Hit him with that One Piece Luffy. You know how Luffy was fighting Katakuri, and he was hitting him with them like huge fists. He hit him with the One Punch Man Luffy One Piece right there, dog. He was knocking limbs off of just blah blah. He was knocking limbs off of Overhaul, bro. This episode was fire, bro. Changed destiny. R.I.P. Night Eye. Night Eye dies at the very end of the episode. That's how we end the episode. R.I.P. 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 I just killed the club. Man, he took care of Night Eye, but Night Eye seeing Deku change fate, change history. I mean, destiny. Like, was just fire in itself, man. I was real. I almost gave this a number 6, and what I did give number 6 would have been higher up on the list if it wasn't for how they did the animation, man. Because honestly, if it wasn't for them doing what they did, this would probably be number 2 on the list, if not number 1. You could argue number 1, and that is episode 74, Lemillion. Man, Lemillion, this is one of the greatest single contained episodes of My Hero Academia. We get the flashback. We get Lemillion going one-on-one with Overhaul and a couple of Overhauls. It's Lemillion versus Overhaul and like 2 or 3 of his members, and he's holding his own against all of them. Even after he loses his power, he makes the ultimate sacrifice to save Eri from no more pain. You have the dope line with the cape. The cape isn't for me. The cape is to wrap up these kids and these victims who need to be saved and everything. Restoring Eri's faith, fighting off Shizaki long after he's lost his power and everything, man. The ending, the way they end it, My Hero, one of the things My Hero does so great, which is another reason it's one of my favorite, is, man, their score. And I'm sorry, I went to school for animation. I graduated for animation. So, like, doing cartoons for the years that I did and everything like that, like, there's so many little things that I pick out that other people might not. But the score in My Hero Academia has the best score in anime, bro. Their music is so, like, their background music and stuff is so perfectly, it matches the emotion and everything at the right times. When that very ending where he's running into the sunlight after saving Eri and everything, and like, yo, man, I want to be a hero, and you're just kind of seeing like, man, it's like this dude who's worked so hard to take this quirk that was broken, but it was like not in a good way, to turn nothing into something, and work so hard to get to where he's at, and then sacrifice it, which is like the epitome of what a hero is sacrifice, so for him to sacrifice, and he sacrificed so much just to get to the level he got to, and then he has to sacrifice and give it all away, everything he's ever worked for, everything he's ever wanted to be, he gives it all away to save this girl. It was the most heroic moment in all of My Hero Academia. It outshined, I mean, Deku obviously is the one who saves the girl, but he's the one who sacrificed the most to save her, and it was probably like the most heroic, if not the most heroic, I'd say it's the second most heroic, if not the most heroic, like, sacrifice in all of the My Hero Academia up until this point. And it just really killed me, because it was one of those, it's probably the episode I was most looking forward to getting animated. And when they did that slideshow, I was just like, bro, like, why couldn't you just give us the animation? Where was season 5's animators for this episode? This episode deserved better in that sense. But If anything, we would have liked to seen it more expanded upon, but we didn't get that. But even with us getting the slideshow for some of the action, the story was still so strong. The moments were still so strong, and the meaning and everything was still so strong that it's still ranked number 6. And that was with the bad animation. If they would have really uh if they would have just fixed up the animation, if they went and did the little slideshow at that part and just do a little bit more onto that fight scene or whatnot, this would possibly be number 1 episode in the entire series. It would be my number 2. It would definitely be my number 2 because I'm thinking of my number 1, and my number 1 is definitely my number 1 no matter what. But it would definitely be my number 2, if not number 3, overall. With that being said, number 7 on my list, or not number 7, number 5 on my list is going to be episode 30, the Climax. That's the name of the episode, but the climax to the Stain versus the UA students arc. We get a great handicap match, triple team up between Shoto, Ida, and Deku, and it's just good because again, it's not just one person getting all the shine. We getting Ida's getting his moment to shine, and he's trying to redeem himself. We already got to see so many different sides to Ida during the short couple of episodes, where he goes from like the super strict follow the rules, very serious, hardworking, steady student, you know what I'm saying, to this dark side and wants revenge and just got blood in his eyes. Like he can't see straight, he can't think straight, he just wants revenge, to him starting to level back out and then realize, like, man, he was bugging, and like, all right, now I gotta make these changes. Like, he's making those changes on the fly. Like, look, I know I messed up, but I that's not gonna, like, I'm gonna change, and I'm not gonna beat myself up about it right now. I'm not gonna let you talk me into, doubting who I am, and I know who I am, and you just got me at a real bad moment, but I'm gonna fix these things. And the students at the end, Stain, saving Izuku at the end when he's getting snatched up by that Nomu Endeavor, and Stain and Gran Torino at the very end with Stain basically like, yo, all y'all are fake heroes and everything, and everybody was shook. And then even though, it was like Stain won, it was like a draw in a sense, but it kind of like stirred the pot and got Dobby and the Vanguard and everybody started to take notice, and everybody taking notice. So it was just a dope overall episode. Coming in number 4 on the list is His Start, episode 88, OG Endeavor getting his shine. This is one of the more beautifully animated fight scenes in all of My Hero Academia. They saved it for the very end of season 4. Man, that animation scene at the very end, that was some beautiful fight animation right there. You had Hawks showing up and doing this thing, saving mad people with the wings and everything. Just beautiful animation. Him assisting Endeavor to catch up to the Nomu, showing Endeavor's heart and resolve. It's showing the whole family dynamic with the whole Todoroki's watching on the television and everything, and Shoto kind of like Shoto starting to come around to his dad, starting to slowly forgive his dad. This is Endeavor starting to slowly fight for his redemption, or at least if not redemption, to reconcile for his past mistakes. Endeavor to me is my favorite My Hero Academia character in the entire series, probably just because he reminds me of Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones, where he's one of those people, like, you start off, you probably wouldn't like so much or probably even hate, but as the series goes on and you learn more about him and see his journey and him trying to change and him trying to, make amends and make right for everything that he's done wrong over the course of his life. It's just something admirable, and you kind of just you want to see them, make that change. You want to see them overcome their past mistakes and their beat their personal demons that they're facing and everything like that. And this was a fire start to that. Man, when he almost died and then comes back to catch the W and everything, it was very reminiscent to like when All Might did his thing versus All for One uh, a little bit earlier on in My Hero Academia. Coming in number 3 at the series is episode 12, All Might. Man, I was kind of on the fence with these two, but man, All Might is such an OG, bro. All Might shows up, and All Might, what makes All Might so dope is like, for one, we already know the stakes, man. We the audience. Now the students, everybody don't know except for Deku and like one or two people, which the principal being one of them, the nurse was another one, and I'll save my speculation videos for who I think the traitor is for a moment. But that's one of the things I think makes My Hero Academia so dope is they like so many Easter eggs and so much foreshadowing out there that there's so many candidates that it's just like, man, I love that mystery. Like, I don't know who it is, but I'm thinking it's this person. I'm thinking it's that person. But with episode 12, what was so dope about episode 12 was clearly this was one of the first signs of the traitor, because clearly they mentioned Kurogiri mentioned earlier on, like, yo, we were told that he was going to be here this day. Like, we had the schedule. So it was leaked that someone gave the schedule to the villains to show up there, and then they were also tipped off that All Might isn't at 100%. He's getting weaker. Now, I'm gonna save that for another episode, because I was about to get into it about the traitor theory and everything. But what my point being, like, they got the drop on All Might. They know he's in a weakened state. They know where he's at, and they brought an insurance plan. They bought a Nomu who was designed specifically to handle All Might if he wasn't injured. Like, so he's basically finding a person who's basically at his level when he's not injured. And he's just, man, they just throwing hands, bro. They going at it, and this episode shows you what it means to go plus ultra. This episode shows you why he's the symbol of peace, why he's the greatest hero in that universe, man. Against all odds, my boy's like, man, forget it. I'm going 110%. If 100% ain't enough, if my all ain't enough to get the job done, then I'm gonna give more than my all. I'm gonna have to reach down deep to places that I didn't even know I had and just pull it out, bruh. And he knocked that fool through the roof and changed the weather, bro. Like, yo, All Might is that dude, bro. Like, that's the third best episode. Coming in at number 2 is episode 23, Shoto Todoroki Origins. Man, this was my favorite battle in the at the sports festival. Yeah, man, like this match was just fire, bro. Like, Deku showing his heart, his reserve, his will. People talking about Deku being a crybaby, please shut up. This dude is breaking bones. This dude is breaking 10 bones and then breaking them over again to stop these huge blocks of ice, bro. Like, little mountains of ice, little, like, just up until this point, everybody else began stopped by this stuff. Like, groups of people, villains, professional villains, everybody. He's been locking everybody down. Deku ain't going for it. Blah, blah, blah. If you want to beat me, you got to give your all, bro. Your 50% is not enough, bro. This whole self-doubt thing, and then it also just broke on Shoto's psyche and his behavioral health issues that he was dealing with, his trauma and his, everything that he's dealing with. And it shows that other side of Deku's character, you know what I'm saying? That that there's so much more to Deku that makes him such a dope character besides just being super powerful because he got All Might's quirk. It shows you why All Might gave Deku the quirk to begin with, because even during a time where the goal is to win, like he puts rescuing others and saving others above all else, if it hinders, even if it doesn't benefit him, even if it puts him at a disadvantage. And he basically saved Todoroki right here. And not only did he save Todoroki, but he saved Todoroki's family to an extent right here. This is what made Shoto able to begin to forgive Endeavor. It began to build that, you know what I'm saying, be able to start to build that bridge between him and his dad again. Because up until this point, it was completely just gone, you know? And that moment when Shoto went 100 with the fire and everything, and the Deku went 100, and the teacher's trying to cement toss with the whole blocks trying to stop it because he knows, like, yo, they about to blow this whole spot up, bro. And then it was fire, bro. And then Deku taking a loss, like, dope. What can I say? Spotlight on another character. And it was such a spotlight on the other character to the point where, like, and I'm looking at it right now, I'm like, Deku's main spotlight was Infinite 100. That got number 7 on the list. And when I'm looking at 6 through 2 up into this point, it's basically a spotlight other than number 5, which was like Deku, Shoto, and Ida. It's a singular spotlight on like other characters in the series, which just goes to show like how greatly balanced the show is. So much to the point that sometimes they overshadow the main protagonist, which is the case here. Even though Deku was strongly also a part of this episode, Shoto was the main star. Deku turned to co-star for this one. And coming in at number 1 on the list, clearly, episode 49, One for All. Man, the climax to the fight between All Might and One for All, the retirement of the world's greatest hero, All for One being exposed to the public, his real state. Him telling Midoriya at the end, like, yo, now it's up to you, bro. Like, this was just such an incredible, significant All Might against all odds. Like, you know, he's over there with the last embers of One for All, just fighting, you know, to stop All for One. Man, it was great, man. The whole thing was just so beautifully executed, and it executed in 2 to 3 episodes. When I see other animes where they have these huge drawn out fights, it pulled the same, if not more, emotion out of me than a lot of those. Without taking up 10 episodes and stretching the fight out, and you know, like, it did just such an incredible, great job. And I ain't gonna front, bro. I ain't gonna front. This episode actually brought a tear to my eye, bro. Y'all gonna laugh at me, but at the end when he was like, goodbye, all for One for All, you know, like after he like did that whole thing, like goodbye something, goodbye One for All. He gave his little spill, but he ended it with like goodbye One for All. Like, I ain't gonna front. A tear hit my eye, bro. Like, it was just such a great emotion. They do such a great job with, again, the score, the music that they play, the dialogue and everything, the way they set it up, the pacing. It was just such well execution, bro. Like, they could have ended the first part of My Hero Academia right there, and I would have been cool with it, and gone into like Shippuden or something, did a time skip, and I would have been cool with it. Like, it was just such a perfect into like it was a milestone moment, and it was like the main representation of good versus evil for for the past generation, because the other two is their story of them getting to that level. But this is the two people that currently are at those positions that they are developing into right now, going at it, and it was just greatly executed, beautifully done. So that is my number one top 25 My Hero Academia episodes. If you disagree with anything on the list, think it should be ranked higher, lower, or you just have your own top 10, top 25, or whatever you want to list, leave them in the comments. Let me know what you think. As always, my name is Andre Harris. Make sure to hit that like, follow, subscribe at the whole effing show on Facebook and on Twitch. If you would like to leave a donation, hit my Cash App at Fadamania. And you can also go to 5-Star Pod Splash on Spotify, Anchor, and check out the audio version, as I will be putting that out a little bit later on in the weekend. Thank you for taking the time to watch another episode of 5-Star Pod Splash Top 10. Of course, this was the top 25. Take care until next time. Peace.